So for today's video, I thought I would use the Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions palette and do a first impressions review video of this. Now this palette is £25 and you get 9 shades in this for £25. You've got 5 mattes and 4 shimmers foiled effect kind of shadows. So I have already done my eyebrows and my base makeup other than highlight, and I am leaving my lips till after. So I thought we'd delve on in and have a look how this performs. Now Huda Beauty is a palette that I've never really delved into as a brand. I've never tried anything from Huda Beauty before. So I got 3 of these for Christmas, so I thought I'd try them all out, you know. Go all out. So I'm going to start off with this shade here. An orange colour. I am just going to tap off my brush just because I don't know what the pigment of these is like. Now I've already got an eyeshadow base on. I've got the P. Louise base in Rumour. Okay, that's very pigmented. So I'm just using a Spectrum B16 brush, I think it is. Oh, B06. Just to buff this into my crease. You want quite a dense fluffy brush to do this, as I find it picks up the colour better than when you use like a really fluffy brush. Just sort of packs on that colour and you get a really intense pigment. So that's one application of the eyeshadow. Haven't had to go in loads to build it up. It's built up lovely. So I'm now just going to do the same to the other eye. And I want to focus this colour into my crease because we're going to buff up and blend out with another colour in a minute. So this is just a good transition colour. Now typically if this was a year ago I would have used the yellow as a transition and then gone in with my darker. But I try to go in with my darker colours now as opposed to my lighter, as I find you get a nicer blend and it just sort of seamlessly blends as opposed to mushing all the colours into one, because you want to still see each colour that you're putting down, but you don't want them to be like colour and no blend. Whereas opposed to when you put your lighter transition down and then try and build up on top of it, you're losing your colours because they're all just going to blur into one as opposed to still being their own colour. So all I do now is I just tickle at the edges around this blend with whatever's left on my brush. This is just going to help when we put our other colour down, just to blend the two together, because you don't want to blend from a really dense pigmented shade into a really light transition. You want it to sort of fade up. I'm now going to take the 234 Luxe Smoky Shader from Zoeva, and I like brushes this sort of shape to do this, and I'm going to take this mustardy yellow, and all I'm going to do is again tap off your brush because you don't want them all to blur into one, and I literally just tickle at the edges. So I'm not buffing and blending loads so that you get a really harsh transition. I'm literally just going in between the two shades to really work it, blending these two together. And I don't know if you can see, they just blend into one another. I don't know why the lighting's making it look a bit naff, but the blend is there. Again on the other eye, and I try not to put too much pressure onto my brush because the more pressure you put down, the more it's going to be blocky. So I literally just tickle at the edges, tickle round, and I find that is how I get my blend. So I'm now going to take a brush like this, so just a tapered blending brush, and I'm going to take a mixture of these two shades here. I'm going to dip once into there, once into there, and I just find that will get me my intensity. And I can't tell you where this brush is from because I've literally had it years. This was one of my first ever makeup brushes, so I can't imagine that it would have been a really expensive one, but it's got no name on it, but it's really good. It's one of my favourite eyeshadow brushes actually for blending into that outer crease, because I just feel like the tapered edge just gets right in there, and I just sort of wiggle it around, you know, give it a wiggle, so that then gets that rounded shape to your crease, I personally like. And then whatever is left on the brush, I just drag through into that inner corner. Again, just blending it up into that orange that we did before. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of the darker brown just by itself and focus this really on the outer corner. And I don't want to drag this into the eye too much because we want it to be quite dark and defined in the outer corner, like so. And then I'm just going to, on whatever's left on my brush, just drag it into the middle of our eye just to get a nice blend between. So you just want to use either a concealer or an eye base, so I'm just using like literally the tiniest blob of the P. Louise base because you really don't need much. And I just take any flat brush, so this is the 144 soft concealer brush by Zoeva. Sort of pat it around, get off the excess because you don't want loads on your brush because otherwise it's only going to transfer and you're just going to end up with this mess. And I just literally tap my brush into my crease. A tip you can do if you're not confident at cutting your crease is look up and it will cut the line for you, but personally I don't feel like I need to do that. But that's just because I practice a lot. But obviously as you're growing in confidence and starting out with makeup, then maybe I would do that. Alternatively, you can get those stampers, but honestly just let your brush do the work and you will get it how you want it. So with my half cut creases, I like to go for like an ombre of colours. Plus I want to try out a few of these shimmery colours. So I'm going to use this darkest one here first. And I use it on a flat shader brush. Okay, that's pretty. I like that. So I'm just taking that just where this brown meets the concealer. I just sort of bring it out both sides to blend it together. I then just literally wipe off the brush on the back of my hand. I'm then going to take this shade here, which is like a yellow gold. Ooh. Ooh, I like it. And one thing I will say is these shimmers are incredible. They're so foil, so pretty. And again, I just like to bring it out slightly. Again, just wipe off on the hand. Then I'm going to go in with this one right here, which is our lightest shimmer in the palette. And just pop this in the inner corner. When I'm doing shimmered looks, I don't tend to like the shimmer coming right in from my inner corner, so I always leave my inner corner blank and use the lightest colour in the palette or like a translucent powder just to do that area, just because I like a bit of matte there because I feel like it defines that line a bit more, where with this shimmer sometimes you can lose it, and then when you put an inner corner highlight on I just feel like it all mushes into one and you just lose that colour. Now I'm going to go in the reverse and do my underneath of my eye. So I'm going to start off with this darker shade mixed with a tiny bit of the one next to it and just pop this underneath our lower lash line. Orange, and go underneath, and then just taking a bit of that mustard yellow underneath to finish the eyeshadow off like so. So I'm now going to put on my lashes. They are the Sosu lashes in Milan, and then I will be back. And then I'm going to apply my highlight. So I always go in with a liquid highlight first, just because I feel like it gives me a more intense highlight, which I'm all for. So this is the Makeup Revolution Drops in, I think it's liquid champagne. Use my finger or a beauty sponge, whichever I'm feeling on the day, just to blend this in. Sometimes I use my finger, it all depends. You get the same sort of look with both. I find my finger sometimes gives a more intense highlight as your finger warms it up and doesn't soak up the product like a sponge. And some days I just wear this by itself because it is really blinding. But of course today I'm going to go in with an extra highlight because it's me. So I just use any sort of little eyeshadow brush, does the trick, and just apply this straight on to where we've applied this liquid highlight. For lips, I'm going to apply the e.l.f. Lippy Stick in Praline. e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss in Mocha Twist. Just my favourite lip gloss of all time. And I just pat this in the centre of my lips. And of course do the lip thing. Works every time. Nothing better than making sure that you don't have that lipstick all over your teeth when you go out, because
that's embarrassing.
So that is now the look complete using this Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions palette. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how I created this look. If you did and you want more eyeshadow looks, then definitely keep on watching my channel. There will be a look coming using the Amethyst Obsessions as well, and I don't know which video will be up first, but if the Ruby Obsessions palette has already gone live, then I will leave the link in the description. If not, look out for that one too. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Give this video a big thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!